more happening in the studios in the gaming industry. Another company laying off more people. It just gets worse and worse and worse for the gaming industry. This one is Eidos Montreal. They're announcing that 75 people have been laid off. And you guys don't know about Eidos. Let me just explain a little bit. You guys remember, let's go back to Hitman. You guys remember that series, you know, contracts, blood money. Yeah, let's go further back. Fighting Force 64, the beat 'em up game. That game right there, that's what made me like love fighting games. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I love those style of games, which I wish one day that a developer brings that back. That would be so cool to bring something like that back with co-op and everything. Oh man, I could talk a whole bunch about that, but we're not gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about this, which is their Montreal studio pretty much laying off 75 people. And we're going to be going over 2 different articles. We're going to go over with 80 level, and also we're going to go with game developer as well, because they have different things a little bit here and there. So we're going to be bouncing between back and forth a little bit. So they said that their Montreal, known as Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers, Deus Ex, Mankind Divided, and more, announced that they'll lay off 75 employees. The reason behind the decision, according to the studio, is that it is currently in the final stages of completing one of its major projects. That's what's saying in this article. But then the announcement clarifies that the layoff is not driven by the employees' performance. It is not a reflection, what they say, quote unquote, not the reflection of their dedication or skills. The studio also expressed its commitment to helping those impacted by the layoffs, stating, "These very talented, highly experienced experts are going to enter the employment market, and we are working to support them through this transition." Sounds kind of nice, right? I mean, it's not like you're like, you know, here's your final check, here's the boot. Later. That's what it sounds like. So then they said the announcement does not specify which project is nearing completion. The studio also confirmed that its ongoing projects will continue to move forward as planned. The only game I can think of right now is Fable. That's coming from them, and they are co-developing that. So I'm not entirely sure what other games that they have along those lines that are going to be coming out soon. So I'm not entirely sure. It looks like, according to Twitter, I believe, or yeah, it looks like Twitter. It said that today we informed our studio staff that we were going to let go of 75 valuable members as one of our mandates is coming to an end. Huh. I wonder what the mandate could be. Could be a multitude of things. We don't know. It is a reflection of their dedication or skills, but unfortunately, we don't have the capacity to entirely reallocate them. Continued, which they said other ongoing projects and services. These very talented, highly experienced experts are going to enter the employment market, and they're going to be working on supporting them through this transition, which they said before. Does that mean that this studio is going to end? No, because then they said that Eidos Montreal stays committed to deliver its other projects currently in development, which I'm still don't know what the other ones could be. So they said that after releasing Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, in 2021, Eidos, Montreal hasn't shipped any more announcements. Also, it is known that the studio is an assistant developer of the reboot of Fable, the 2004 fantasy RPG. I'm not even gonna say original Fable. I'm gonna just say, like, I don't know, modern day Fable, Fable 25 maybe. Between this Fable that they're talking about and the OG Fable, which is amazing, it's completely different. Like, it's more stylized on their end for like the OG Fable compared to this one. They try to seem like going more of a realism, which that's a whole another can of worms that I can talk about in another video. But yeah, it's just you can't replace the original. You just can't do it. They said that also recently, Crystal Dynamics, the studio that also worked on Marvel's Avengers, announced a layoff of 17 team members. Now, the crazy thing is, right, with Crystal Dynamics, right, they also are under the same company that Eidos Montreal is under, which is the Embracer Group. Not too long ago, Embracer Group bought them from Square Enix in 2022. Spent $300 million acquiring them, which is crazy. Basically, what has happened over that time is that Embracer went on this, I would say the CEO, which is Lars, I think Wingforce or Wingforce. I'm not entirely sure. I'm so sorry about that. Said that the company would help those studios realize their ambitions. So basically, it seems like he's just like, hey, we're gonna cut down the fat. We're gonna, like, you know, get rid of stuff that is not really needed, that is spending way too much money, because that's pretty much what's going on. Just too much money that's being thrown to the burn pit, I guess you would say. So then they say here in the game developer, they said that around a year later, did a brutal restructuring program, basically doing mass layoffs, studio closures, project cancellations, and high-profile divestments. Let's see here. The reorganization ended with Embracer splitting into 3 standalone entities to search for winning formulas. The layoffs haven't subsided completely, though. Earlier this week, the studio, Crystal Dynamics, 17 people got laid off to meet its current business needs. Now, these are my thoughts about this whole thing. The reason why for the layoffs, it could still be residual from, you know, the over hiring from the timeout era, I guess you would say. You know, the pandemic. I know a lot of people don't like saying the big C and stuff, so usually I say the timeout era. I think that's what it is. It's that's one of my thoughts, is that it could just still be like a whole bunch of people that are still working there. And it's like, well, we have nowhere else to put you and we can't just throw you out, you know? So then like some studios kept them on, or they put them into other games where it's just so many people working on one title, which I'm still trying to understand, but again, I don't. So many people working on one single title. There's just like, there's going to be butting heads, and there's always going to be some complications, and then the games come out and obviously the players see it, and that's when it gets really bad, is when your consumers, the gamers, the players see how the game is, and you're like, and it's just like there's no going back from it. And that's why we're seeing like some studios and stuff shut down and stuff, which is insane. Another thing is, yeah, companies bloated, needing people, obviously. Needing to let go of some people, which people have been leaving and going to other studios or creating their own and creating their own titles and stuff like that, which I think is really cool. I'm not gonna lie. And it gives a little bit more of a challenge, I guess you say. It feels like it gives more competition. There you go. It feels like it gives more of a competition to these AAA studios, because a lot of AAA studios, I believe, are just like, they're sitting too comfortable saying like, hey, we're a AAA studio, we're a AAA company. Our games, we've sold games that made millions, hundreds of millions, maybe billions of dollars. So we're good, we're sitting pretty. The next game, it doesn't matter, we'll put it out, it will make a hit. But obviously it hasn't over the past few years, I guess you would say. I will say this, we did see Guardians of the Galaxy. Now I want to show you guys a little bit of Fable. This is the Fable 25. Now this was released a month ago. I can't really play the whole thing because I don't want to get copyrighted, let me put it that way. But this is the pre-alpha footage, which means that it could change. It's a possibility that this whole thing could change, even doing the changing of the character. But if even looking at the character, which I believe this is supposed to be the hero for this game, it's just, they did the whole realism graphics, and again, I can go into this whole thing compared to the previous ones, where this is like, you could tell like it's more of a stylized, cartoony, and it's split differently. And a lot of people are asking questions about it too, like, well, are we going to be able to do like the previous Fables, where, you know, you can do either go the light path, where, you know, you're all like pure and looking nice and everything like that, or are you going to be, you know, the evil side, where you get horns and everything like that flies around you, your eyes are like not bloodshot, but they're like really dark and everything like that, and you look like a demon, things like that. People are wondering about that for the Fable games, or for this upcoming Fable, but we don't know entirely, because with the pre-alpha gameplay that they showed, was basically you're just walking around, you're seeing the environments, graphics, they look good and everything, but like, what about interaction? What about the actual actions themselves that make the game? That's what I am concerned about. Now, looking at this video, the pre-alpha, right? I did add the extension of seeing what the dislikes were, because people were saying it wasn't good. But yeah, almost lining up together, where it's 15,000 likes and then 11,000 dislikes. And some people were asking questions about, you know, hey, while everybody discusses about chicken choices, hero creation, I got only one question: where's the dog? If you guys don't know, that's in Fable 2, but you guys would have to talk about, you guys would have to like go in and play the game, because I don't want to ruin it for you guys. That there's like, it's a very pivotal point in that game. But let's see, nothing as humorous as casual animal cruelty. Wow. I have PTSD from the swarm of Kukos from Zelda, the chickens, things like that. So people are wondering like, oh, can you just go around kicking chickens and stuff? That's how it was in the original Fable, which was pretty funny, and things like that. And then people were asking also questions of, are you able to create the hero? Can you be a landlord? Which I think is in Fable 3, I believe. Fable 3 was the one where you're like a king and stuff, and you have like a whole kingdom and things like that. And you can either be a good king where you don't have any money and everybody's living amazing in your kingdom, or you can make your kingdom look completely horrible. People are just devastated, but then you go into your chambers and you're sitting on mountains of gold and jewels and things like that. But that's all I have for this video right here about Eidos Montreal. Hopefully that the restructuring process goes well. Hopefully if they do need more people, that they can possibly bring these guys, the people back. But then on top of that, I just really want to figure out what was the mandate where they said that it was coming to an end. What was the mandate? Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think the mandate is, or what it could have been. That is ending very soon. All right, Self Channel. I'll see you guys later. Peace.